Welcome to the Explainer. You know that super dense, complicated home insurance policy? The one you've probably been putting off reading? Well, today we're going to tear it apart and show you exactly what matters for protecting your most valuable asset.
I mean, who hasn't, right? They're packed with jargon, super confusing. Honestly, it's a headache. So that's what we're doing today. We're taking all that complexity and just boiling it down to a simple 5-minute guide to one of India's standard home insurance policies.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to decode what the policy actually is, talk about the difference between your building and your stuff, figure out what actually triggers your coverage, check out some key features and, super important, what's not covered, and then wrap up with what you need to do to make a claim.
First up, decoding your home policy. So what is this thing really? Let's get right to the heart of it.
So at its core, it's pretty simple. It's a contract. You pay them, and they promise to pay you back if your home or your stuff gets physically damaged. But, and this is a big but, it only kicks in for a very specific list of unexpected events.
Okay, next section. And this is a really important distinction the policy makes, the difference between covering the building and the contents. Think of it like the box versus the things inside the box.
All right, so the home building part. This is the box we were talking about. It's the physical structure of your house, yeah? But it's also all the permanent stuff. Fixtures, fittings, like your plumbing and wiring. And it even includes things like your garage, the compound walls, the whole shebang.
And then you've got your home contents. This is literally all the stuff inside the box. We're talking about anything that's not permanently attached to the house. Your furniture, your TV, your laptop, even your clothes. All the things that make a house your home.
So this slide really breaks it down nicely, right? You've got the building cover for the structure and the contents cover for your belongings. And you can actually choose. You can insure just the building, just the contents, or what most people do, get coverage for both. The policy treats them as two completely separate things.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. This is probably the most critical part. What events actually trigger your coverage? What has to happen for the insurance company to pay up? The policy is super specific here.
And wow, this is where you really need to pay attention. The policy covers a whole list of things like fire, lightning, storms, floods. The big stuff. But look at that right-hand column. Those are the exclusions for those specific events. Take theft, for example. It's only covered if it happens within 7 days of another covered event, like a storm or a riot. So yeah, the fine print is absolutely everything here.
Now here's a pretty cool little feature tucked away in the policy. If you have cover for both your building and your contents, you automatically get some general contents coverage. It's set at 20% of your building's insured value, up to a cap of 10 lakh rupees. And the best part? You don't even have to list every single item. It's just built in. All right, we've made it to the key features and, of course, the exclusions. We're going to look at what might be the best part of this entire policy, and then we'll flip the coin and look at the fine print, the stuff that's not covered.
Okay, so there's this thing in insurance called underinsurance, and usually it's a real trap. It means if you insure your house for less than it's actually worth, and then something happens, the insurance company can proportionally reduce how much they pay you, even for a small claim. But this policy, it does something different.
And here it is, straight from the policy itself. What this basically means is if you accidentally underinsure your home, you make an honest mistake in its valuation, they won't penalize you for it on a partial loss claim. As long as you weren't trying to pull a fast one, you get paid the full amount of the damage right up to your policy limit. Honestly, this is a massive, massive consumer-friendly feature.
Okay, now for the flip side. What isn't covered? Knowing this stuff is just as important as knowing what is covered, because these are the big general rules that apply no matter what.
So, let's run through the big ones. The policy won't cover you if you damage your own property on purpose. Makes sense. It also excludes huge events like war or nuclear contamination. And then there are the more everyday things like pollution or if an old appliance just gives out in short circuits. And one more thing to note, it doesn't cover things you've just misplaced or secondary losses, like if you can't work from home after a fire. They don't cover loss of earnings.
Okay, last section. Let's talk about your responsibilities. Because if something does happen, knowing what you need to do is half the battle for getting a successful claim.
So think of this as your 5-step action plan. Step 1, tell your insurance company immediately. Don't wait. Step 2, report it to the authorities, police, fire brigade, whoever's appropriate. Step 3, do what you can to prevent any more damage from happening. Cover that hole in the roof. Step 4, document everything.
take pictures, take videos. And finally, step 5, you've got to get that official claim form in within 30 days of the incident. Follow these steps and you'll be in good shape.
So you might be thinking, okay, great, but why does this one specific policy matter so much? Well, it's because this policy is often the basic building block for much bigger insurance packages. A great example is the Former's Package policy. It literally starts with this exact home insurance policy as Section 1, and then it stacks on other coverages for things like tractors, livestock, and produce.
So there you have it. We've gone through the whole thing, the structure, what triggers it, the big benefits, and the crucial exclusions. Look, the whole point of this explainer wasn't just to read a policy to you. It was to give you the tools to look at your own policy with a bit more confidence. So now the question is for you. Is your home covered for what really matters most?